Sokoto is a city located in the extreme northwest of Nigeria, near the confluence of the Sokoto River and the Rima River. As of 2006, it has a population of 427,760. Sokoto is the modern-day capital of Sokoto State. The name Sokoto is of Arabic origin, representing Suck Market. It is also known as Sokoto, Benin Shehu da Bello or Sokoto, capital of Shehu and Bello. Being the seat of the Sokoto Caliphate, the city is predominantly Muslim and an important seat of Islamic learning in Nigeria. The Sultan who heads the Caliphate is effectively the spiritual leader of Nigerian Muslims. Climate: Sokoto is in the dry Sahel, surrounded by sandy savanna and isolated hills, with an annual average temperature of 28.3 degrees Celsius. Sokoto is one of the hottest cities in the world. However, the maximum daytime temperatures are generally under 40 degrees Celsius most of the year, and the dryness makes the heat bearable. The warmest months are February to April, where daytime temperatures can exceed 45 degrees Celsius. The highest recorded temperature is 47.2 degrees Celsius, which is also the highest recorded temperature in Nigeria. The rainy season is from June to October, during which showers are a daily occurrence. The showers rarely last long and are a far cry from the regular torrential showers known in many tropical regions. From late October to February, during the cold season, the climate is dominated by the Harmattan wind blowing Sahara dust over the land. The dust dims the sunlight, thereby lowering temperatures significantly and also leading to the inconvenience of dust everywhere in the house. A region's lifeline for growing crops is the floodplains of the Sokoto River system, which are covered with rich alluvial soil. For the rest, the general dryness of the region allows for few crops, millet perhaps being the most abundant, complemented by maize, rice, other cereals, and beans. Apart from tomatoes, few vegetables grow in the region. The low variety of foodstuffs available has resulted in the relatively dull local cuisine. In terms of vegetation, Sokoto falls within the savanna zone. This is an open to sea fly-free grassland suitable for cultivation of grain crops and animal husbandry. Rain starts late and ends early, with mean annual rainfall ranging between 500 mm and 1,300 mm. There are two major seasons in Sokoto, namely wet and dry. The dry season starts from October and lasts up to April in some parts and may extend to May or June in other parts. The wet season, on the other hand, begins in most parts of the state in May and lasts up to September or October. The Harmattan, a dry, cold and fairly dusty wind, is experienced in the state between November and February. Heat is more severe in the state in March and April, but the weather in the state is always cold in the morning and hot in the afternoons, save in peak Harmattan period. The topography of the state is dominated by the famous Hausa Plain of northern Nigeria. The vast Fadama land of the Sokoto River systems dissects the plain and provides the rich alluvial soil fit for a variety of crop cultivation. In the state, there are also isolated hills and mountain ranges scattered all over the state. Historical development of Sokoto. Sokoto had been used as early as October 1804 by the Shehu Usmanu Dan Fodiyo as the venue for the meeting with Galadima, Yunfa's vizier. Subsequently, it was used by Muhammad Bello as a staging post for an attack on Dufua in the spring of 1806. Boville suggested that the area district may have been known as Sokoto as early as the 17th century. In historical perspective, Sokoto was founded as a rebut in 1809, when Shehu Osmanu was its Saifawa. It later became the capital of the Caliphate after Shehu's death. In the 1820s, Sokoto was at its peak of prosperity, coinciding with the peak of its rulers' powers at the center of the Caliphate, receiving annual tribute from all the fiefs before a long period of decline. The explorer Hugh Clapperton was highly impressed by this prosperity and its effects on the city. Clapperton noted the importance of Sokoto's closely settled surroundings, the rivers, rather than long-distance trade, in the city's economy. But the trade of Sokoto is at present inconsiderable, owing to the disturbed state of the surrounding country. By the time the explorer Heinrich Barth arrived in 1853, Sokoto was thinly inhabited and greatly dilapidated. Barth in 1857 estimated the population at only 20,000–22,000, but the market was still supplied and attended, and a thriving suburb outside the wall was more animated than Sokoto itself. Boville aptly described Sokoto as a strong position, with steep escarpments from the east to the northwest and a small valley on the west and the southwest protecting it against surprise cavalry attacks. The town dominates the broad lowland where the two rivers, Rima and Sokoto, meet, being the junction of roads from Gobir in the north, Kebbi in the south and Burmese Zamfara in the east. In the early 19th century, the town was divided into wards. Such wards include Magajin Gari Ward, Jawaziri Ward, Sarkan Musalmi Ward, Sarkan Adar Ward, Magajin Rafi Ward, and Sarkan Zamfara Ward. At this time the wards were small and surrounded with a wall, which included the mosques of Sultan Bello and Shehu, Sultan Palace and other buildings, as well as the compound of Shehu. In 1818, the wall was extended up to the extent that it has gates that come in and out of the Burni wall. Such gates are Kofar Kade, Kofar Quer, Kofar Rini, Kofar Dunde, Kofar Ramnia, Kofar Ali Ujedo, and Kofar Marka. The area of the present Sokoto was the home of many empires and kingdoms of the pre-colonial Western Sudan. These include the Gobir and Kebbi kingdoms, as well as the world-renowned Caliphate, whose spiritual and political capital is the headquarters of the state. Following the conquest of the Caliphate by the British in 1903, its various components were made autonomous and joined into the government of northern Nigeria. The northern region was thus made up of mainly parts of the Sokoto Caliphate and Kanem-Bornu Empire. This continued up to January 1967, when states were created to replace regional governments by General Yakubu Gowon. Sokoto became the headquarters of the Northwestern State, created in 1967. In 1976, following the creation of Niger State out of Northwestern State, Sokoto State emerged with its headquarters. Yet in Sokoto, Kebbi and Zamfara states were carved out of Sokoto in 1991 and 1996 respectively. Sokoto metropolis has thus been the capital of various governments since its establishment by Caliph Muhammad Bello in 1809. People and culture. Sokoto State has a projected population of 3.7 million people based on a 2006 census made up of two ethnic groups, namely Hausa and Fulani. Sokoto Town, the capital of Sokoto State, has a population of approximately 2.5 million. Apart from Hausa and Fulani, there are the Zabamawa and Tuareg minorities in the local government border areas. All these groups speak Hausa as a common language. fulfilled is spoken by the Fulani. Hausa people in the state are made up of Gobirawa, Zamfarawa, Kabawa, Adarawa and Arawa. The Fulani, on the other hand, are of two main groups, the town Fulani and the nomads. The former includes the Torankawa, the clan of Shefuas Manu Danfodiyo, Salabawa and Zoramawa. The Torankawa are the aristocratic class since 1804. Culturally, the state is homogeneous. The people of the state are Muslims, and Islamic religion provides them with a code of conduct and behavior. The mode of dress is also of Islamic origin. Two major festivals, namely Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Kabir, are celebrated in the state every year. The former marks the end of the Ramadan fast, while the latter features the slaughtering of rams in commemoration of an act of the Prophet Ibrahim. Traditional wrestling and boxing are the two sports enjoyed by the Hausa, while the Fulani and the Salabawa entertain themselves with Sharo and Doro respectively. Important visitors to the state are usually treated to the Grand Mini Durbar, an event involving the parade of heavily decorated horses and camels mounted by men in full traditional military and cultural attire. Economic activities. Over 80% of the inhabitants of Sokoto practice one form of agriculture or another. They produce such crops as millet, guinea corn, maize, rice, potatoes, cassava, groundnuts and beans for subsistence, and produce wheat, cotton and vegetables for cash. Local crafts such as blacksmithing, weaving, dyeing, carving and leatherworks also play an important role in the economic life of the people of Sokoto. As a result, different areas like Mokera, Marina, Takamoawa and Majama became important. Sokoto is also one of the fish-producing areas of the country. Thus, a large number of people along the river basin engage in fishing as well. Sokoto is equally endowed with natural and mineral resources. Agro-allied industries using cotton, groundnut, sorghum, maize, rice, wheat, sugar cane, cassava, gum arabic and tobacco as raw materials can be established in the area. Large-scale farming can also be practiced in the state using irrigation water from Goronyo Dam, Lagu, Kalmalo, Wamako and Kwakwazo lakes among others. Minerals such as kaolin, gypsum, limestone, laterite, red mills, phosphate, both yellow and green, shade clay, sand etc., are available in commercial quantities. Mineral-based industries using these raw materials could be established in the state. The absence of the tsetse fly on the open grassland benefits both wild and domestic animals. Sokoto ranks second in livestock production in the country's animal population of well over 8 million. The availability of these economic potentials provides good investment opportunities, particularly in agro-allied industries such as flour mills, tomatoes processing, sugar refining, textiles, glue, tanning, fish canning, etc. Transport. Sokoto lacks a public transport system. Transport within the city is mainly by mopeds, which operate as one-person taxis. Buses and taxis are infrequent and are generally used only for transport between cities. 10 kilometers south of Sokoto there is an international airport with regular connections to Abuja, Kano and Lagos. Industry. In August 2008, an agreement was signed for the construction of a cement works in Sokoto. Urbanization. Urbanization has a very long history in Hausaland. The process started when certain strategic areas of Hausaland developed from Kauyuki to Bahrain. Yet one of the major consequences of the jihadist was the speeding of this phenomenon not only in Hausaland but also in all areas affected by the Caliphate administration. New towns sprang up and the older Bahrain entered into a period of unprecedented growth, some as new areas of commercial activities, others as both emirate capitals and centers of administration and commerce. One of the aspects of urbanization in the history of the Sokoto Caliphate started with the establishment of Sokoto City. In the pre-Jihad period, the area between the Gobir Kingdom and Kebbi was the area commonly referred to as Nomadland. But with the success of the jihad led by the Shehu Usmau Dan Fodiyo and subsequent victory of the jihadists over the rulers of Hausaland, Sokoto City was built by Muhammad Bello. Moreover, as observed by Abdul Razak Shehu in his book Sokoto Burning Shehu, Sokoto City was designed on paper by Muhammad Bello even before it was built. Bello, son of the Sheikh, was among his father's lieutenants and war commanders. He fought the hardest and longest wars and was the architect of the Caliphate Sokoto Burning Shehu. Sokoto City, as designed by the architect Muhammad Bello, consisted of all the characteristic features of any modern city, including roads, bridges, market, ganuwa, and as well as administrative and commercial centers. Among the administrative centers designed by Muhammad Bello are Kanwuri, Binonchi, Galadanci, Alkalanchi, Dogarawa, and so on. However, apart from the central market popularly known as Yardale, other commercial areas designed by Muhammad Bello include Makera, Madinka, Marina, Saridawa, Takamawa, Runji, and Jayagawa. In addition, among other things, no town in either pre-Jihad or 19th century Hausaland could develop into an urban center without effective fortification. This was built with many strong points like Kofar Ali Ujedo, Kofar Dunde, Kofar Marka, Kofar Rini, Kofar Kware, and Kofar Tramnia. And this paramount development attracted many people to migrate from the locality into Sokoto City for survival. For the above observation on how Caliph Muhammad Bello designed the city of Sokoto, we will see that Sokoto witnessed more immigrants with interest in blacksmithing, leatherworks, pottery, etc. For example, some of these people either engage in the business of blacksmithing or in other related businesses in Makera Asada. There are people who used to travel to different parts of present Nigeria and even in neighboring countries to buy damaged iron materials like damaged vehicles, cars, lorries, aircraft, etc., iron pipes, and oil tanks in order to break them into pieces and sell them for anybody who wants to put them into use or modify them into another product.